Hey Rick,
Hey Megan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I am enjoying the first week of spring here in sunny Southern
Hmm.
California. It
It
is
is beautiful.
absolutely
Perfect.
gorgeous outside,
It is.
and I am out visiting some of my listings I'm working on. We've got windows being washed and houses being cleaned and doormats and keys and so yeah, putting the trash cans away. I see that's got to happen. So yeah, just a busy day. So I'm on the
It's a
road
good
for
day.
our call today.
Good. Sounds good to me.
All right. So we talked earlier about
Hmm.
an especially frustrating experience that happened to
Hmm.
you. And I said, are you kidding me? That's terrible. I can't believe they do that. And I
Hmm.
said, you know what? We should talk about that on our
Hmm.
podcast today
Hmm.
because that really sounds like a duper. Somebody's really going to get you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it, Rick. Tell us about what happened and
Well,
what we need to be
yeah.
aware of.
Yeah, thanks. So it's a common practice that consumers don't know about. We know about it within our industry because we deal with it. But here's what happens. I'll give you a couple different examples and how things happen. But whenever someone applies for a home loan, the credit bureaus, not the lender, the credit bureaus, i.e. Equifax, TransUnion, those guys, Experian, they sell that lead. They call it a lead because you ran a mortgage credit report. They sell that to a whole bunch of lenders who now want to call you up and try to convince you to switch lenders. And those are called
So hold on a second.
trigger leads.
Hold on.
Hmm.
So sorry to interrupt you. So Experian, all the credit bureaus, they're
Hmm.
charging you to run a credit report.
Hmm.
How much does that cost now for you
Now they're
anyway?
$113, I think, for a credit report, for a mortgage report.
$113 a
Hmm.
person. And so they're charging you
Which I pay for on my side
$113.
up front, by the way.
Right.
I'm paying for
Yeah.
it. I don't charge the
Right.
client up front for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're selling your client's information to, and you said it's called what kind of leads?
Trigger leads.
Trigger leads. That
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
unbelievable.
Hmm.
That would make me so irate. That would be
It
like
does. It's a problem.
if I ran a CMA in the MLS and then the MLS said, "Oh, somebody's looking to sell," and then sold that lead to five other realtors.
Or 100 other realtors. I mean, whoever wants to buy it, there's no limit. They can all buy it. And now they're
That's
all
a
going to be
scam.
calling your seller. It
That
is kind
needs
of,
to
yeah.
stop.
There's
No, it's terrible.
pending,
Okay.
there's pending legislation to outlaw that practice because it is such an abusive practice. It frankly is because what you have is, we call them bottom dwellers, right? The
Right.
bottom feeders of the business. They don't have any relationships. They don't have any experience. They don't know how to get their own business. They don't have a business. And so they buy these leads for cheap and they start dialing, and they use trickery a lot. They'll use all kinds of weirdo gimmicks to get the consumer to talk to them. So in my example, this last week, one of my good past clients, we were doing a loan for them. She gets this call from this lender. By the way, they actually disguise their caller ID as the phone number from my office, from my company
Oof.
office. Okay. So they thought it was my office calling them. And
That's
then
called that's called spoofing.
exactly. And
Okay, go
then,
ahead.
so when she answers the phone, he says, "Oh, hey, this is Adam. I've got great news about your loan." And went on and on and on about her loan terms, how great her loan was going to be. And she's like, "Well, wait a minute now. You're not Rick. I mean, where's Rick? I mean, do you know?" He goes, "Yeah, I know Rick. I'm on Rick's team. I know Rick. Yeah, I know Rick. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we got your loan." And further into the conversation, she realized that no, 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 this is not the company that I'm
Mm.
familiar with. This is a weird. And then she confronted him, and then he finally acknowledged that no, he doesn't work for my company. But he
Wow.
represented that he was on my team, that he knew who I was, and he was calling with good news about her loan. And that's the kind of things they do to at least to start the conversation. Well, it
Yeah,
was really
because
upsetting for her.
yeah, yeah. Well, of course it was. Like, because she probably feels like she almost really got scammed.
Kind of in a way,
And
yeah.
yeah, and the fact of it is that um, if they're teasing you with a
Hmm.
low introductory rate. I mean, you can go
Mhm.
online, you can get an idea of what the rates are. Okay. It's not going to
Right,
be a huge difference from bank to
right.
bank. It's all going to be pretty much the same.
The cost of
But if
money is the
they're
cost of
call
money. Mhm.
yeah, and so if they're calling you and they're saying we're getting you a 4.99, you better bet your bottom dollar you're getting charged for that and a hell of a lot of money.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, so yeah, so I had her send me an email. This guy sends her an email. She forwards the email to me. I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, doesn't this isn't adding up? There's no email signature. There's no phone number for this guy. There's no licensing information. Had the company name on the email, but no phone number for him and no licensing information for him. Okay. So you know me, I check this guy out. I come to find out he's not even licensed. Not licensed to do business anywhere. And so there you go. But this happens a lot. It happens all the time. And even by the way, your current loan servicer, do you think you can really trust? They're not quite as bad as trigger leads, but when you have to realize that when someone is servicing your loan, the people that actually call you back to do a loan with you, they're like the lowest skill sets in the business. They're just trained with scripting, and their only objective is to tell you all the great things about you and your loan, and then take your application, lock your rate, go to the next phone call. That's all they do. I had a
Mm-hmm.
client call me a while back now, but he said, Rick, I got this great offer for this loan. Can you match this? Because he said they just called me up and said, hey, here's a great deal. I said, yeah, send it over to me. It was a really, really low rate. I'm looking through the loan estimate. By the way, this guy was telling about how a great loan this is. It's saving them X amount of dollars per month on their payment. Sign here, sign there. We're good. Hey, your loan's approved. All excited. Looking at the documents, they were charging
Mm-hmm.
them almost, this is mind numbing, $36,000 in loan points. Points, points, not other closing costs, just loan fees, $36,000 to save him like 400 a
Yeah.
month. Okay, that's a problem. We didn't, so we got that. So the other one I had this last week, actually 2 weeks ago, different loan servicer. When we pull a credit report, their loan servicer gets notice that their report was pulled, and so now the
Mm-hmm.
loan servicer calls our clients and goes, "Hey, I can get you a better deal."
Yeah.
It's just the dirty side of the business, unfortunately. So they got them on the phone, said, "Hey, there's a better deal for you." Sent them the loan estimate, and of course the buyer they called me and go, "Hey, Rick, what do you think about this? Can you do this?" I look at it. There's a section in the loan estimate where it says lender fees. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That section was whited out.
What?
It was very well done, by the way. You wouldn't notice if you didn't know where to look for it, but I looked for those. It was blank, it was whited out. And by the way, they were charging our client 1 3/8 loan points. I did the math on
Wow.
it based on the closing costs. What? 1 3/8 points? You kidding me? But
So
it
they
sounded
they hid
great.
the points.
They hid the
Yeah, and they
points
would
because they knew it was exorbitant.
and what they were doing, it's like you probably don't have to bring any cash in to close. They probably just adding it on to the
That's
loan.
what they did.
So
Hmm. They were
unless you
simply
were
saying, yeah,
pretty
yeah, they were simply saying, here's our lower payment, got your lower payment, better deal, sign here, sign there. But when you start putting the math together on that, it wasn't adding up. Well, yeah, you're charging 1 3/8 points. Like that's not the right way to do that. But again, they hit it. They whited it
right.
out. You
Yeah.
can't do that.
Geez. Okay. Well,
So
yeah.
anyway, we don't talk about that a lot, and it's unfortunate that happens on our business. And like I say, there's legislation that's trying to overturn that practice because it is such an
Mm-hmm.
abusive
Mm-hmm.
practice.
It's got to
And it's not
happen.
fair
Yeah,
to the
that's
consumer.
terrible. They shouldn't sell your information because you pull a credit report.
Hmm.
That just seems so predatory, you know.
Well, it is. Yeah. I
All
mean,
right.
I'm the
Well,
I'm the
I know
credit bureau's
we got
customer.
taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the bottom line is here is that in my opinion, you just go with, you lean on somebody that you know and trust, and you uh, get a referral from a friend, or if you're looking for
Hmm.
something that you
Yeah.
need somebody in person, just go with somebody you know and trust, and you'll have much less chances than getting these horrible experiences. I had one
Hmm.
recently and I could not believe it. I had this listing and it was a situation where it was kind of a hoarding situation, and
Mhm.
the people that lived there were older, and one of them
Mhm.
didn't have all their faculties basically. And this person's driving by and sees that they're moving, so they go up to the door and they say, "Oh, you're moving," and they say yes, and they say, "Call Megan, our realtor." And this person says, "Well, you don't need her. I'll help you. I'll clean out the house. I'll find you a home, a nursing home for your, partner who doesn't have all their faculties." I mean, this person
Mm.
promised them stuff that you cannot even imagine. And they had no intentions of doing it. The whole thing's a bait and switch, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so this person keeps going by the house and harassing them, right?
Wow.
And so I told the family, I said, well,
Mhm.
next time she comes by, get her phone number. And
Mm.
so they got her phone number. So I called her and I said, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, ha, 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 ha." And she doesn't have a real estate license. I don't even know what her role is, but I think she might
Wow.
just be like a scouter for this investor, right? So then
Who knows?
finally the investor calls me and he's looking to make a deal,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I normally don't just sell off market. So I said, "Well, you can look at it when everybody else looks at it."
Mhm.
So we got it cleaned out, and the house had 21 offers on it and sold for a
A
lot
lot
more than we
more.
listed it for. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just like there's just so many scam artists out there. So I guess,
There are.
if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Have a trusted advisor to bounce
Mhm.
things off of, and phone a friend if you think you're being
Yeah.
scammed or fished or
Listen, and
catfished or whatever.
yeah, and that's why we're here, right? We're thankful that
Yeah.
we have clients that know and like and trust us because we have a history. We know what we're doing, and
Mhm.
they call us and go,
Mhm.
"Hey, I got this offer. What do you think about it?"
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
happy to give them the guidance around that. But it's disturbing when I see what that's happening out there, and
Mhm.
it's disturbing. That's all I can tell you. It's upsetting.
I know. All
But
right, Rick. Well,
anyway,
I think that hopefully people feel a little bit better off knowing this information, and that they can always reach out to us. It's no pressure.
yeah, of
We're not
course,
salesy. Just reach out to us if you run into a situation you need help.
for sure, we're here.
All right, Rick. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate you.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
See you later.